of people will tell you to do sword before body. And it's not necessarily that they're wrong. Everybody's always going to the extreme. Do we do sword before body? Do we not? There's just time and place for everything. If we do sword before body on our thrust, we will extend our arm and then extend our leg. Okay? When we do this, our aiming is different than when we do body before sword. If we do sword before body, we've extended our arm, which means we're no longer aiming with our arm when we attack, we're aiming with our body. When we do the arm extension and then the lunge, you actually will be aiming with your body. Because if I arm extend, a lot of people that do sword before body, they might take an angle and then they start missing because they extend their arm and they lunge to the angle. Because they're still aiming with their arm and the tip of their sword, which is wrong. Because you've already spent that. I now need to aim with my body, right? And then if you raise or if you sink low or if you flinch, all of a sudden you miss. It's actually very difficult to do sword and then body, right? And it's very hard to do it with no tells. That's why most people, when you have them do it, they start loading up and doing all these telegraphs, okay? We also have what I call an accuracy lunge, which is the easiest way to have high accuracy, which is actually ends up being body before sword. The reason is if I line up my back knee and the tip of my sword with the ball, and I simply extend my body, now I am closer, my tip is still in line, all I do is reach out my arm and I hit the ball, hit the tip. Okay, it's very easy to aim because I just extend, right? So then you can do it in one motion, you can just extend this, you're getting your tip closer, which makes it easier to poke, right?
Yeah.
And this one, it's actually easier not to have tails. Now the difference between the two is that when you do sword before body, you go, this is my max range. Now all they have to do is compensate with your step, which is a very easy guess. So what's happening is the opponent only has one thing to compensate for, one range, because you've shown it and then
you've already presented your weapon. You've already presented it.
Also, now your thrust, your quickest thing, is slow, right? Because now you've fully extended the arm. Then when the body goes, now this arm that you already extended is going at the speed of the body.
You already spent your body.
Your fastest one, right? When we do our body first, now they are calculated at this measure of my current guard. And now they have not only one measure to think about, but they have two. Not only that, I have this speed with this velocity, then I have a separate speed for them to compensate for. Okay, then there's also same time. Boom. Okay, and when we do same time, now they are compensating for two different distance changes in one moment. Okay, so they all have their place that you want. Depends when you want to spend your fastest segment. Okay, but first we're going to start with the sword before body ones. Even though I don't do sword before body a crazy amount, no one does, and they all just lie to you. It's very important to understand sword before body. I think sword before body as a defensive concept is kind of better than an offensive one. Okay. The reason is if you're in stance, if I go to move my body and I want to walk that way before I move my sword, I can get hit because I have not cleared the path.
Okay.
So if I want to change directions, I personally will move my sword and cover the line first and then move my body. Because then I am covering myself the way I am going. Which is real funny because a bunch of people that talk about doing sword before body all the time, they will actually do like body before sword or sword and body at the same time at the wrong time. So what I mean by this is like they'll do sword before body to attack and their attacks won't land. But then when they go to step, they stay in one static guard. They only fight in one guard. And then when they move, they don't adapt it. So now they end up moving without that coverage.
Oh, gotcha.
Because they're in one guard.
So that kind of sense, yeah, the defense is there. So if I were to do this and then...
Yeah, then now you're a lot safer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suppose if I just moved, still open, I have to... Okay, got it. That makes all more sense.
Okay, so when it comes to sword before body, there is no right and wrong. There's simply what segments do you want to save. That's the key to all of fencing and why everybody is fucking wrong and everybody is right. Because they all make great points, right? They all have great fucking points, but then they disregard the other person's view on it. But realistically, it's just about what segment do you need for what time to fulfill what goal. If I am attacking you, then sometimes I don't want to use my fastest segment first. Because if I extend my arm and then I go to attack, right? This is why a lot of people that disengage like this, where they extend the arm, then they have to try and disengage like this, their attack gets shut down.
Yeah.
Because the time has been equalized. Versus if I use the segment of my body and then you go to parry and I go to feint you, then now I have my arm, you just spent yours, so now you have to try and retreat and your feet are not faster than my arm. Boom. So this is why my feints tend to look like this. I will cover the line. This is the other trick though, because if I don't cover the line and then now I do a body feint and then go, I could just get fucking poked in the face and we could double. But if I cover the line and then I do a body feint and you move, then when you go to retreat from arm extension, I still hit you. Okay, so I tend to do body before sword more, but that's because I have the line covered. Because my guard is adaptive to what my opponent is doing. And most people, like say tigers, they find a low guard and they talk about having adaptive coverage with the dagger, right?
Yeah.
Which, that's not bad. That's at least halfway there for what I think they should be doing, okay? But the issue here is what happens if your right eye alignment. Now I'm doing adaptive coverage with the dagger, when that's going to take way fucking longer than if I were to do adaptive coverage with the sword. So I will...
You have to cover that whole fucking...
Exactly. So depending on the eye alignment I'm in, tells me which weapon I will cover and parry with and be adaptive with.
That's true. They do like the square up all the time. Like they don't like to deviate from the plan.
Exactly. So, and most people, a ton of people are like gigante fencers that are like always here. Right? And they're always just like covering with their sword. But what happens when you're on that side? So this is why it's so important to be adaptive on all of it. So now go ahead and get in stance, okay? And line your back knee up with the ball. And line the tip of your sword up with your knee and with the ball. Okay, now get low. Now just extend your body, don't extend your hand, just lunge with the body. Now reach out and poke the ball.
Yeah.
Good, and same thing, straight path with that sword. Line the tip up, line your knee up, reach out, poke the ball.
Why is that so much easier?
Because the other one, you're trying to extend the arm, and now your arm is unstable when it's long. It's not stable anymore. And then you're trying to attack with the body and keep this antenna out. Versus when I get closer to you, and then I reach out and touch you, my hand is a lot more ambidextrous than my entire body is. So you're essentially, when you do it this way, it's very, very simple because you simply get closer to the target and then you poke it. Versus the other one, you're trying to poke the target as you get closer. So the other logic behind this too, there's a lot of reasons why I think this specific sword before body one is underutilized. So when it comes to power, if I touch the ground and then extend and hit something, the power went into the ground first.
Yeah.
But then it's getting hit by the power of my hips and my arm. If I extend and lunge and hit the ground and the ball at the same time, all my power went into the ground, my arm has no extra power.
Yeah.
If I extend and lunge and hit the ball before my foot hits the ground, it has a decent amount of power, just at the back leg, but none of the arm. If I extend the leg and extend the arm and land both right before my foot hits, maximum power. Okay? But that's for damage, right? That's talking about where the energy of the shot lands.
Yeah.
So like if I'm punching you, and I step, and then I hit you.
Yeah, it doesn't do too much.
If I extend my arm and then go here, that's like a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
But if I step, boom, and then extend, I have to pull that shot back too, because it's going to fucking hurt, right? Okay, so the thing we're going to fix, okay, is going to be this arm here. So go ahead and rewind. Extension. I'm going to tell you when it deviates. It's going to deviate right about now if you continue extending. Because your elbow, when you fully extend your arm, what happens is it was here. When you fully extend the arm, it moves it.
Okay.
So we're going to stop right before full extension.
Okay.
And you'll lose that deviation.
Okay. I see what it's like. It's almost like a tendon pulling.
Yeah.
Pulls my arm.
Pulls the tip. And for me, it's super bad because my elbows were broken and they're double jointed. So watch what happens to mine if I fully extend. Okay, I go here. If I fully extend.
Oh, yeah.
Versus when I don't, I'm going to stop here because any further pushes me out. Good. Okay, and tuck that chin.
Tuck the chin.
Tuck the chin with that shoulder. Good. That helps the aim. Okay, now what you're also going to do is you're going to sink lower.
Sink lower.
You're going to go lower on the thrust while the sword goes straight.
So I'm a thrust.
Yeah. So your body goes lower, but your hand always goes the straight path. There we go. Gives you a ton more range. Very good. Good. Now I want you to lunge slightly to the right while you do it.
Slightly to the right?
Slightly to the right. With your body.
You got way more accurate.
It's weird, isn't it?
Oops.
That's why I call this the accuracy lunge.